We're here to share with you inspiring stories that bring to life all the little and big ways that people bring more love, joy, laughter, and humanness to everyday life. Our focus is the hunt for those little moments that refuel the human soul and reminds us what life is really all about. I invite you to sit back, enjoy the moments, enjoy the stories, the adventures, and the journeys. Hey there, welcome back to another episode of What the World Needs More of. My name is Jarek Robbins. I'm your host, and I'm very excited to have a special guest here with me here in studio. Randy, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Super excited. I've really wanted to have this talk with you for a long time, and hey, here we are.
Here we are. Well, I'm excited, and we're going to dive right in to the question of the show, which is, what do you believe the world needs more of?
Well, there's a lot of things I think the world needs more of, Jarek. You know, one of the things that I was thinking about when you invited me on the show, I was like, wow, one of the things that I feel is missing a lot is hard workers. Hard workers is one of them. A lot of people are slacking nowadays. Everything has become so easy that I think working hard has been left like behind. You know, it's so easy to just go online and do something and make a little money, and they don't work hard enough for their goals. Or sometimes people stay behind because they watch other people on social media do so many things and they get overwhelmed. They don't take action and actually work hard, you know. And another thing that I think the world needs more of is real people, like not putting up a front, not putting up putting up a picture with a convertible next to you on social media doesn't make you rich. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are still in that, and that soon enough has to go away, you know, as a whole.
It's true. It's true. I do believe that. I think hard work, it's interesting. I was reading a statistic yesterday in the small business community, at least within the United States. It says there's been a massive increase of they call them micro businesses, so a one-person business, that are now making upwards of $500,000 or $1 million a year in revenue with one single person.
That's amazing.
And there's a huge uptick. And what's interesting, when you say hard work, there's no humanly way that human is sitting around doing nothing all day. Like, I guarantee that person is working their face off.
Yep.
But if they're willing to put in the work, you don't even need 100 people at your office to do it. Like 100%. It could be one person that's making $1 million a year, which is massive.
And another thing is that I don't even think like it should be about the money, because I mean $500,000 for one person, it's amazing, but
that's a lot.
But if he plays his cards right, that same business, and he hires people with that money, he can have a $2.5 million business or more, you know, like $100 million business if he's smart about it. So that's where I think the hard work also kicks in, because I mean, building and thinking about what you're doing, taking every decision and going step by step. We were just talking about it, like, you know, learning from your mistakes and knowing where you want to go to keep yourself happy. You know, happiness. It's basic. We need happiness.
I think that's the other piece. I've been reading this book, Conscious Capitalism by John McKay. And then there's also another one called Firms of Endearment. And it's something special to do with businesses, where it's no longer just about how much profit can we squeeze out of this thing. How can we cut down the wages and screw our partners over basically to get as much profit as possible. And it's more about saying, hey, how can we take care of the community? How can we take care of our shareholders? How can we take care of our employees? How can we create a place, and this is something I'm a huge fan of, how can you create a place where someone's happier, healthier, stronger, and more fulfilled as a human being because they spent the last 20 years working with you? Meaning they look back on their life and they say, I wouldn't be this happy, this healthy, this fulfilled as a human being if I didn't work there.
100%.
And I was like, wow, how can you do that? But you need them to work hard.
You need them to work hard. And if they don't, that's another thing. I mean, sometimes as an employee, people who are there's some people that are meant to be employees and not entrepreneurs. So I feel like if you are in that position, you should try to work your butt off. Like, work hard at what you're doing, grow in that company, and be the best at what you're where you're happy. Some people love that stability of having that paycheck. They love the stability of going home and not thinking about their business. They're not made for entrepreneurship, you know? I was raised with my dad's an entrepreneur, and since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, I've seen my dad doing events. He also worked for a radio station because that's the format that was back then, but he also had his own businesses. So I was able to see how an entrepreneur worked hard, and how my dad worked 10, 15, 18 hours a day sometimes, and he still does. You know, that's the way he is. He loves it, and I was raised like that, my brother as well, and I think that's something that's in our blood. And one of you were touching a very valid point, which is learning from that job. And it's one of the reasons my dad and I, when we started our company, we started teaching first. I mean, my dad's been teaching for 30 years, but people have learned from us. Then they come and they work with us or for us, or, you know, they're our clients or whatever it is. But they already have a basis where they learn and they're growing every day. It's super vital. It's super vital.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What is your wow factor? What makes you uniquely you? And what are some of the moments that help shape it over the years?
So what makes me, I think, number one, how I was raised. How my parents raised me. It wasn't the perfect way. I would definitely say I don't think anyone was really raised perfectly, but it was perfect for what I love. I mean, I love entrepreneurship. I love entertainment, and I was raised in that environment. But one of the strongest things, which I think is number two, is being an immigrant in this country. Because I literally went from, you know, I came here when I was 7 years old. I didn't speak English. And my dad came from being a very successful entrepreneur and broadcaster in our country to coming to a whole new country and starting from scratch. You know, I saw my mom cleaning houses, you know, delivering flowers, my dad delivering pizza, all the way to becoming a real estate agent, and all the way now to becoming back to what he was, which is a broadcaster. So all of that road that he traveled, you know, he opened up restaurants, he opened up newspapers, he had all kinds of businesses, you know, like phone, what is this called? Telemarketing. We had telemarketing businesses. We had all of that, and I saw it rise and fail. So those mistakes that they made, it's kind of like my book, you know, like that. Like we were just talking about The Road Less Stupid. A great book, by the way. I really want to read it. From what you told me, is a really good book. So, and those mistakes that they made, I learned from them, and it's important to learn from them, not just to like, oh, that's what they did, that sucks, you know, like, no, it's like, this is what they did, how can I use it to my advantage in the future, you know, that knowledge. So definitely those two things. And third was something that shaped me hard, it shaped me, was my car accident. I had a car accident back in 2012, and it was, I nearly flew out of the car. It was something that was incredible. Like, I still can't believe that I'm alive, because it was, I was in the back seat of a Suburban. It was a truck, a Suburban. I fell asleep in the back. I just finished DJing here actually in Miami Beach, and I had just come from a tour, and I came back, and it was like the last gig, and I was gonna rest for like a month or two. And my friend was driving. She fell asleep on the wheel. She wasn't even drinking. She fell asleep on the wheel, 7 in the morning, I-95, so we were going about 70 miles an hour, and I didn't have my seatbelt on. We went from 70 miles an hour to 0 in a snap. We hit the median between an exit on the highway and the actual highway, so it was the barrels of sand. So we hit the barrels head on, and it just stopped the car completely. So I projected forward, and my two knees got stuck between the center console, which is what held me back. And my head hit the windshield, which also kind of helped, and I held onto the radio so I wouldn't like go flying forward. But at that moment, I was like, whoa. You know, I was like, okay, I just got in a car accident. Everything's okay. I touched myself. I looked at myself. I was like, okay, I'm good. I looked to the left. She was passed out, the driver. And the other girl that was with us wasn't even in the car. I was like, at that point, I didn't know what was going on at all. OnStar was like, help is on the way. I was like, whoa, so much, you know, so many things going on, you know, in like 3 seconds.
Your fairy godmother via OnStar. Help is on the way. You're like, thank you.
Yeah. I was like kind of not annoyed, but I was like, shut up. Let me concentrate. I was like, hold on. Because you know, you try to focus in that moment. And you have like the adrenaline rushing. Nothing hurts at that moment. Like I was bleeding and everything. Nothing hurt at that moment. And I was like, okay. The girl finally woke up. The driver finally woke up. And I was like, okay, we're good. The first thing she said, she's like, oh my God, my dad's gonna kill me. I'm like,
Oh.
this girl's thinking about her dad right now. And then the other girl was like in shock going around the car. And I was the one that calmed them down until they're like, they look at me and they're like, you have a glass in your head. I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, is there like a piece of glass stuck in my head? And I'm like, it's all good. And they're like, no, there's pieces of glass. I was like, okay, cool. Firefighters came and everything, and they took me. I was about 8 months in rehab, like trying to come back to walk and everything. And that really reshaped everything. One of the things it took me to was to do a spiritual retreat. That one of my friends is like, hey, you should do it, this and that. So I did it, and it actually helped a lot. It helped. I really recommend doing that. I mean, I'm sure every religion is different, but it's really something that relaxes you, grounds you. And those 8 months, I was thinking about what I wanted to do. And from there on, I've been taking action. Before that, I had been doing events. I did a lot of events here in Miami. I was touring, DJing. I had a group of DJs and everything. I was always a hard worker. But after that, it was more like, let me think of the long term and make sure I can enjoy every single thing that I do. Yeah. Just enjoy it. And I try to make money from everything that I love. Yeah. So sometimes I want to go out and I want to go to a club instead of wasting money in a bottle, whatever. I have a DJ company. So I have the DJs. I go out, I accompany my DJs, and we get, drinks or whatever it is. I have fun when I do that. If I don't want to go out, I'm still making money from that, Yeah. So that's one of the businesses that I started because I know it's something that I love to do and something that I'm going to enjoy. Yep. Radio as well. We started the radio station, which you went to the other day. We started that. With my brother, I'm starting something that's like a marketing company. So like things have changed for me in that sense because now I see things more whether I love to do them or not. Yeah. I'm not just taking up on anything. Sometimes you got to say no to things,
Absolutely.
Projects.
I remember I'd taken a cruise, and I hadn't taken a vacation probably in 5.5 years when I first started my company. And I was just working, business operator purely. Yep. And I remember this trip came up, and it was 7 days, and there were 15 days, 7 countries. I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. So I signed up for it, brought some friends with me, and I was on this trip. I was like, wow, I forgot what it was even like to go on a trip like this and just relax. And relax to me was still using the shipboard Wi-Fi to check my emails 4 times a day.
100%.
But it was relaxing. It was way more relaxing than being home. And I remember being on the ship thinking, man, I wonder if I could do this, but not have to pay to be here. Mm-hmm. This is like my first thought. So I wonder if I could do it instead of paying for it. I wonder if I could do it for free somehow.
Right.
And I remember one of my friends was like, you should talk on board. I was like, really?
There you go.
And they're like, yeah, let me go ask around. So literally one of my friends went and asked around and said, hey, who's in charge of like who curates the speakers or the performers, stuff like that. So then she negotiated with them. She got me on the next one. Literally, they were like, well, we won't pay you, but we'll give you a free cabin in return for you speaking twice on the ship. I was like, done. That's amazing. And then that's awesome. I was still sitting there though, and I'm like, I wonder if I could get paid to take this trip. Mm-hmm. So as I look around, I'm like, they won't pay me to do it. They'll give me a free trip, which is amazing. And then I went back to him, like, can I invite people to come with me in a special thing just with me? They're like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, do you guys want a split of that? And he's like, no, you sell it, you keep it.
Wow.
It's like, okay. So we created a fee, we created a retreat, and then the next trip, we made profit taking a cruise.
That is awesome.
I was like, this is amazing. I'm getting paid to go on vacation.
You thought it, you created it, you made it happen. That's awesome.
But it falls in line specifically with exactly what you said, which is you find something you love to do, something you would actually pay to go do because you love it and it's fun, and then reverse it and be like, well, I wonder if I could at least do it for free. Yep. And then wait a minute, I wonder if I can get paid to do this, where someone's literally paying you to do something that you would have paid to do yourself, and you're sitting there with a smile on your face being like, I just got paid to do something I would have paid for. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's thinking, because I mean, it's not hard. No. It's not hard. It's thinking and doing it.
So. I hope every NBA player feels like that every game. They're like, this is amazing. I got paid to shoot the basketball.
They're just like, hey, but you know what? That's a lot of stress also.
Is.
And they work every single day so hard. But I mean, so do we.
It is. But so I hope they feel that way, though.
Yep. Yeah, 100.
I hope they don't feel like, gosh darn it, I got to go do this again. Like, I hope they're like, yes, I get to play. Like,
but you know what? That's where I think also like entrepreneurship with being smart, a smart entrepreneur and thinking business is vital. But thinking also with the heart, with what you love to do, with making sure people are feel comfortable there. That's one thing that I at first I didn't see what my dad was doing with this, but I admire it and I love it. He from the beginning of our business, we just launched PangeaFM 5 years ago. By the way, we just turned 5.
Wow.
So when we first launched, he would always make coffee and bring it to every single guest, no matter who it was. It could have been the biggest or the smallest. He could have been really busy, but he gets the coffee and brings it. Like, we can have an assistant do that, you know? But he's like, I'd rather do it myself, bring it to them. They'll feel the love. They'll feel good. They'll feel like they're taken care of. Like, you know, and sometimes they're like, who's this old guy that's helping me, bringing me coffee? What's he doing that job? You know, like, but he's like, oh, I'm the owner of the business. They're like, oh, shoot. You know, like, that's awesome. You know, he's taking care of us. I think something as small as that is putting love into your business, you know? A lot of people think about business or entrepreneurship as, you know, I'm trying to play this smart, and if I have to do less and make more money, it's good. But sometimes you have to put a role on it, you know, like you need a role, you know? So I think it's a balance of both things, right?
I think so as well. Here's a question. What's a moment that made you feel incredibly humble along the journey?
I think that car accident, definitely that car accident was huge for me. I mean, I was down for a long time. I mean, I was at the time I was also doing like voiceovers. I was doing dubbing. I was doing so many things, and it was just not everything that I loved to do. And it just it just brought me like God, you know, like you know, he's the one that manages the time here, you know, like it made me actually realize that, you know, like you don't realize it until something grounds you sometimes.
It's true.
So
it's true. My grandma always says something growing up. She goes, you know, I'm not afraid of anything because it's your time to go. It's your time to go. And I found true peace in that statement. It took away so many random fears that used to exist before I really got connected with what she shared with me. She's like, honey, if it's your time to go, your time to go. There's nothing you can do to prevent it.
Yep.
And if it's not your time to go, you'll be here. Why be afraid? Why waste thought?
Yeah.
And I remember even I'd gotten sick. I told the story before where I got sick and teaching organic farming in Uganda. I got malaria twice and got told I had 6 days left to live. And in those moments, though, just what you said, it brings you, like, it's almost like that vacuum thing in a movie where it's like, shoo, and you're very much just in this moment, and you start to think about what really actually matters.
Yeah.
And it's very humbling because it's like, wow, all this stuff around me really doesn't matter. And then you have to ask the question, well, what does matter? It's like you said, being from your heart, connecting with the people that matter, serving the community around you, showing up and doing the things that make them feel seen and heard and felt. And it's like when you get back to that place, I think the tricky part is figuring out how to stay in that place as life keeps pulling you in other directions.
I think it's keeping it present always, and it's kind of sad with the way we have to actually kind of control that. But if you think that the worst thing that can possibly happen to you happens to you when something else is going on. So if something's going on in your business and you're like, wow, what if X person that I love so much passes away right now? You're just going to be like, that's not a big deal. Let's move on. Let's keep going forward. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that I think it's important. And one question I had for you, what's your view on what's going on with the depression, with so many people being depressed, committing suicide and everything? Like, what's your view on that as a psychologist?
So technically I'm not a psychologist.
Okay.
I have a background in psychology, but just basic level, and I study human behavior. So I'll just say that for everyone listening.
Yeah, of course.
Not a licensed therapist, so this is only
even more with human behavior.
Yeah, so with human behavior, it's about chemistry piece. I just posted something about this on Instagram, and it's the difference. Let me pull it up real quick. It's the difference between dopamine and serotonin, and there's a beautiful clip online where a therapist is going through this concept. And we're addicted so much to dopamine, which is pleasure. And so dopamine only has 5 receptors, and the neurotransmitter fuels desire and motivation. That's what it does. Think facts about dopamine. It's addictive. It's short-term, like enjoying a piece of cake. It's visceral, meaning it's felt everywhere in the body. It inspires taking. So like cashing your chips into the casino, you want to take it. You want to get it. From there, it's typically experienced alone. So eating, shopping, drinking, binging, it's by yourself. It's not with other people. And then it also makes the brain says, this feels good, I want more. And too much leads to addiction. So this is dopamine. Versus serotonin, which is happiness. And dopamine is pleasure. Serotonin is happiness. So serotonin spreads happiness signals all throughout the brain, touching at least 14 different receptors versus 5. Here's the facts about it. It's not addictive. It's long-term, like contentment, meaning you can look back 5 years from now and still be proud of it and still feel good of it. Versus you eat a piece of cake, you might feel bad about it literally 15 seconds later and go, oh, why did I do that? And this one, 5 years later, you'll still be proud of it. It's ethereal, I think that says. It's felt above the neck, so it's felt in the upper regions, not all over. It inspires giving, like volunteering at a soup kitchen. It's generally shared with others, so spending time with friends, family, colleagues, or a congregation of groups. And it makes the brain says, this feels good and it's enough. Versus I want more, it says, this is enough.
This is enough, yeah.
And the final piece is, too little of this leads to depression. So if you look at the difference between serotonin and dopamine here, you then have to ask, what actions can we take every day that actually produce the serotonin? And the fun part is this is scientifically proven. So this isn't guessing. This isn't anything. There's a book right over here called The Happiness Advantage by a gentleman named Sean Edgar. He did research all about happiness at Harvard, which is fascinating. Because he says, what in the world could students at Harvard be unhappy about? You're the smartest, brightest, hardest working people. And he's like, but he found kids there massively depressed, massively stressed out, suicidal, all this stuff. He's like, what in the world? You're supposed to be the best. Like, why are you struggling? And what they found out was so many different reasons that caused it, but they found out there's a solution, and they scientifically proved there's certain things you can do. A few of them, let me get to you the exact lineup. Number one is, so it's by a study in 2003, we're writing down 3 gratitudes every day. So just writing it down, just end of every day, write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. There was a follow-up study done at Stanford that shows if you take each one and you come up with 5 reasons why you're truly grateful for it, it'll deepen the feeling and experience in your body. But just the 3 gratitudes is enough. Second one is journaling. This was a research study done in 2006 that said if you capture the good things that happened today, you just write about them at the end of the day. Next one is exercise. This is a research study done in 2000. This one was interesting. So this one, they took people who were clinically depressed. They put group A and gave them just medication. Group B, they did medication and exercise. And group C, they did just exercise.
Nice.
30 days later, they checked how they did. All of them had the equal positive results 30 days later, meaning exercise was just as potent as depression medication was. Here's what's wild. They did a 6-month, 9-month, 12-month evaluation. At 9 months, the relapse rate was, I'm forgetting the exact numbers. The relapse rate for medication was extremely high. So let's say 90% relapse rate for people who are on medication. 9 months later, they're depressed again. The exercise group was down to like 30% relapse rate.
That's insane.
Meaning they started a new habit that transformed their life that they kept doing. Therefore, they never relapsed back because they had adjusted the biochemistry. And by the habitual ritual of working out every day, they literally rewired the chemistry inside of their body.
That's insane.
They didn't need the medication anymore.
At all.
So exercise. Next one, meditation. Study done in 2007 shows it helps. And then final study in 2005 shows random act of kindness. So doing something kind for people around you. All these things produce serotonin in your brain.
All of them.
All of them. Scientifically proven.
Yep.
So you don't have to guess anymore.
So would you say there should be a balance between dopamine and serotonin?
So dopamine's fun. Dopamine's the stuff that's like, yeah, it's exciting. It's like buying a new car. Yay, it feels good. And 6 months later, you're like, why did I buy the one that has such stupid expensive gas? And it's like, why isn't it still exciting? It's like, because it was dopamine. It felt fun. And
I think
life.
it's until, there's until some point, sometimes the dopamine can mean happiness if it's what you really love, if you really want.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's always just short term though.
Yeah.
It's just short term.
Yeah.
And if you know that, you can use it apparently.
You know that.
Yeah. So here's the key. Education's the first part. You got to understand the difference and then choose which you need.
100%.
And so whenever I run into someone who's depressed or upset, I wrote it in the notes of this little comment on Instagram, which I always tell them the same thing. Here's what I want you to do. First, you have so much going on in your head. I guarantee that's where all this upset is coming from because you're thinking about it so much. So we need to clear your head. Go take an ice cold 3-minute shower. People are like, why does it have to be 3 minutes? Why is it ice cold? I was like, because I know this as well as you do. If I jam you in a bucket of ice for 3 minutes, I guarantee you can't think of anything at the end of 3 minutes. Why? Because it's so cold, it shocks the tar out of your body, and you go on the other side, and all your thoughts are gone.
Yep.
Perfect. That's all we want. We just want your mind to clear. Now it's clear. Now let's put in the good stuff first, and then everything else, instead of everything else and then the good stuff. So we get you to clear your mind by shocking your body with cold water.
Yeah.
Whatever
it takes, but that's awesome.
But it has a good side effects. There's a guy named Wim Hof who studied this stuff. My friend who runs the neuroscience lab at Stanford, they studied this guy. He has 16 Guinness Book World Records of doing the craziest stuff under extreme cold circumstances. And so when they studied him, what they found out was extreme cold for that 3-minute ice cold shower or immersing yourself in the ice bath stuff, it produces what they call super performance, which are all the side effects are fight or flight without any of the negative consequences.
Wow.
So your muscles tighten, your body breaks down sugar more efficiently, basically as if a tiger was about to attack you and you become superhuman. You get all of those benefits without any of the negative stress.
Wow.
Just for that 3-minute ice cold plus a certain breathing routine. So if I can get you to do that, we're going to get not only a clear mind, we're going to get this superhuman version of yourself that feels like you could run face first through a brick wall and crush that thing.
That is amazing.
Now, let's go write down what we're grateful for. Let's go do these things. So you feel strong and powerful, you feel unstoppable,
focused.
And we're locking you into what's good and using both at the same time. And if you do this stuff for 30 days.
It would be every day for 30 days.
Every day for 30 days. That's it. I mean, do it for 7 if you need somewhere to start.
What is it, a 5-minute thing? It's not even like,
it's
but
awesome. What's funny is doing these little routines.
Changes forever,
People come back and are like, I feel so much better. What happened? Like, you're magic. I'm like, same. It's not me, dude. You did the work.
Yeah.
I just showed you the right tactics to do. And we weren't doing it because it's a good thing to do. We were doing it because it changes your biochemistry.
Yep.
And when we start doing stuff like that, now you can transform somebody. And again, I tell them to them, it sounds like I'm asking them to do random stuff. Go work out, write down 3 things you're grateful for, do a random act of kindness, do a cold shower. They're like, how does any of this help me be happy?
How does it make sense? Yeah.
Like, you're not talking to me about my problems. You didn't help me heal anything. I was like, that's okay. But once I can get you to the best version of yourself, you can handle all that other stuff. 100%. You're smart enough. You're strong enough. You're capable of. Most people know what to do. It's just they're not the best version of themselves, so it's really hard to do it. But when they're the best version of themselves, it's freaking easy to do all the stuff they know they should be doing. So that's what we aim for.
Yep, 100%. What's your short term? What's your dopamine? What do you ever do short term?
I mean, lots of little stuff. It depends on what we're going through. Like, I started playing a little game on my phone because it was fun. And that's all dopamine.
Yeah.
Honestly, helping people, to me, is probably dopamine and serotonin to an extent. I get messages every day from people all over the world who are either celebrating something or challenged with something. They trust me enough to say, hey, how would you handle this?
That's awesome.
And I always start off with, I probably am wrong, but here's what I would try. And they try it, and I get a message back 3 days later, and they're like, I got the job. I'm like, hey, it worked. 3-minute ice cold shower. Focus on what you can give instead of what you can get. And they're like, yeah, it worked. I got a job. I'm like, cool. So I get that one a lot. I get people who are struggling with depression. I tell them to do the things we just talked about, and they're like, hey, I feel better. Thanks. I'm like, great. And so,
how can we do this to help people like at a massive way in the depression topic?
One person at a time.
It has to be one person at a time?
It doesn't have to be. But this is, my truth has been, when I started out, I wanted to touch everybody and reach everybody and change everybody. And someone's told me that starfish story where it's like 100,000 starfish on the beach and the little kid's running down the beach, chucking one at a time into the ocean. The old guy goes, hey, kid, don't waste your time. There's no way you can get them all. It doesn't matter. And the kid picks up one more and goes, it matters to this one, and throws it in the ocean and keeps going. Yeah. And I realized something. I was always frustrated or overwhelmed because I was trying to get to everybody.
Right.
And then I said, why don't I allow myself to win instead of always feel like I'm behind? And I said, if I'm going to win, why don't I make it easy? And so I changed it. And I said, listen, our goal is no longer to change 100 million, 1 billion lives, 7 billion people's perspective. I said, listen, our goal is to get to the person who needs us most at the moment they need it with the message they need. And I said, I don't know who they are, where they are, what they need. But our goal is
Just to have that.
every day is to push good thoughts into the world, and hopefully it gets to them. And it doesn't matter if we get to them or someone reposts it and that's how it gets to them, or someone shares it with a friend and that's how it gets to them, or someone steals it and says it in their words and that's how it gets to them. It doesn't matter. That's when I stopped taking my name off of all this stuff when I was creating stuff and always putting my logo on it because it was my stuff. I stopped doing all that because I said, you know what? As long as the person gets what they needed, I don't care if it was me or number 730,000 person that somehow connected to me in some way that happened to share it or drop their phone on the floor and the person picked it up and went, wow, that's useful, and it saves their life.
Yep.
It doesn't matter as long as it got to them. And when I started focusing on that, everything changed. Our business grew
100%.
astronomically. People wanted to be on board. Our community exploded. Everything happened because we focused on what was real, which is just getting to the person who needs us.
Yep.
And same thing. I don't know who's listening to this right now, but whoever you are, I hope you find what you're looking for. And it's really a blessing to know that every day it reaches those people. And how you reach them in mass, my belief is every day if we keep doing that, a couple of things will happen. One, the handful of people that relate to us will connect with something we say and it'll make that difference in their life. Two, someone will be inspired to go do something or say something or act in a certain way that'll cause that ripple to happen, and they'll do it and they'll change their life. And I think Tupac said that, like, I don't have to be the one to change the world, but I'm going to inspire someone that does.
Yep.
And if every day you're thinking that way, where you let go of having to be the person that does it and let go of that ego aspect and just be like, hey, I'm here as a servant and I'm here of service. And if what service I can add to the world will either spark somebody or help someone or inspire someone that does go and make the difference, bingo. We're all
100%.
winning.
One person at a time. And they'll
Yeah.
grow. And if you can get to inspire three new people every single day, or one new person every single day, you're gonna get to that long-term goal too. But you don't need that. You just need person, face to face.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's the part that we aim for. That's what we adjusted. Okay. Couple more questions for you, and we might have to go fast because I've got a coaching session coming up.
All right.
So let's see. What has been an awe-inspiring moment over the years?
A what?
Awe-inspiring. Something that left your jaw on the ground just going, wow.
Something that surprises me is my dad and I in our business. We just work hard every day, and we don't sometimes look back and see everything we've built. And that right there, I think it's just like sometimes we see just what we were talking about, how many lives we've impacted, how many people we've helped. Because again, we're an academy, so a lot of people come and they're 40, 50 years old, and they're like, I've always wanted to be a broadcaster. I've always wanted to be on air, on camera, or whatever. And we help them make that dream come true, something that they didn't do because of their parents back in the 50s, 60s that didn't let them do it. Yep. And now they have the opportunity of taking decisions on their own terms and doing it. So we're, especially in the Hispanic industry, that people come from other countries, and they're limited. They can't do what they were over there or what they wanted to do over there. And here, we're those people that make that happen for a lot of people that we've been able to help. So I think that is something that is super humbling, back to the other question, but also something that is, wow, it's impressive to me. It's super impressive.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about your greatest fear?
Losing my memory. Alzheimer's kind of thing.
And is that just something random that showed up, or is
it's random? Yeah, I thankfully haven't had any firsthand experiences, but I'm the type of person that I've always liked to. I don't like school. I was always really bad in school. In college a lot better because it was what I loved to do. Every single one of them, every single one of the careers I studied, but I think I've worked so hard to learn from other people, learn from people's mistakes, to create my own path, to try to build, to study what I love, to see other people's, like, what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong, and me take my things into my own hands and kind of analyzing everything and making my own path of it, that if I forget everything that I did and I forget everything, it's just like, now what? If you forget it, what would I be without all of the knowledge today? What would I be without all of that knowledge that I've, accumulated? So I think that's a big fear of mine,
That's unique. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah.
But I, too, would not like to lose all my memories. Those are some of my favorite things in life.
Think about it. All the other tactics that you use that you can possibly use over and over again. Yeah. Like the cruise. You would show up in the cruise again and you'd just be like, what if I can make this happen?
Could be fun, though.
It could be fun.
I think something that's interesting, every one of these little things aren't necessarily the thing that matters, but each one of these are a memory from different trips and experiences in my life.
That. All the memories that you've...
That's why they're all here in my office. Is every one of
Does
these
that ground you? Like when
to
you
a
come in
different
here and
place.
you look at each one of them and you're just like...
They're some of my favorite things. Because they're the memories, they're the experience, they're the trip that it was from. And I remember, just by looking at the little pyramids, I remember it was my dad and I. He was a judge at Miss Universe in Cyprus. And then we took a plane over to Egypt and went and saw the pyramids for a day and then flew home, and I was in high school. And I remember kids were like, "Oh, what did you do this weekend?" We all raised my hand. I'm like, "Oh, I went and saw the pyramids in Egypt." And everyone was like, yeah, right. And I was like, "Pictures."
Was there Instagram back then? No Instagram. No MySpace?
I had photo albums. They were like, "Whoa."
You went to CVS to go get them printed.
Exactly.
24 hours.
But it was funny. But those are memories. And you know, it wasn't showing other people. It was just looking back. And still today, those little things that cost 50 cents somewhere on the side of the road bring back the entire memory, just having it there.
Yep.
It's so valuable. Here's one. What are you most excited about for your future?
So I think my projects, all of them, because I'm what my thought on everything right now is like I'm building separate companies, but since everything is under the entertainment industry, at some point everything's going to come back. Like everything's going to like kind of connect with each other, from marketing, the DJs, the radio station, the coverage that I do, you know, the press coverage. So at some point I'm going to be doing a press coverage for the radio station, and it's going to be my own artist or my own DJ that I'm interviewing, and it's going to be for my own company. So it's like at the end of the day, everything's going to join together, and not only for me, but for everyone that works with me. And I'm super excited about that because it's not something that I want in a year or two. It's something that I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking like 40 years from now, making that happen, you know? So I'm building and just building every day for those moments. So I'm super excited about that, about when that'll happen. Not in a rush though. I really want to take things slow when it comes to that. Like I feel like I'm in a rush day to day to make the day-to-day things work in order for the long term to be like finally get there, you know. Like I think that's the best way to build, you know, brick by brick. Making sure every brick is perfect, and then at the end of the day you look back and you're like, I got the whole wall.
I like that. I like that. Okay, final 3 questions.
Let's do it.
Number 1, where do you focus the majority of your thoughts and time and life each day as of right now?
Majority of my thoughts and everything is on productivity.
Okay. What would you say is one key to your success in productivity?
Focus. Yeah.
Okay.
Focus, not losing focus, not wasting time. Like everything that I'll wake up in the mornings and I'll listen to podcasts from 7, 8 in the morning, and then I'll get to work at 12, but I already checked my emails. I focus. I'm always working. I'm at an event with one of the DJs and I'm on my email and I'm still working. Like just being on top of things, you know. And I think teamwork as well is something that I, you know,
dive in on.
Yeah.
Final question. What's one actionable tip that can help others achieve experience that kind of success in their life? So when it comes to focus, to have that high focus, high productivity, what's one tip we could leave them with?
I think don't think about it too much, you know? Don't think about it too much. I mean, I've never in my life, I've never found excuses for things. And I think it was part because I saw my dad is the type of person, we both have that example where we have our fathers that probably taught us a lot of what we would actually do nowadays. And we got the good things and the bad things. So we have to learn how to process those bad things. But I saw my dad not think things through and just do them, which is an amazing and a really bad thing at the same time. So so he's the type of, today he's still the same person. Like he's still the same type of person. He thinks something, he says, I want to make this couch, and he'll just go to Home Depot and buy stuff, like, you know. But he'll come back and he'll make a couch, you know. Like he doesn't stop and like, oh man, but then I have to drive to, like, stop complaining, you know. Like, don't complain, just do it. So I was raised in that, so now I try to like balance it, you know, like think things through but not take too long and just make it happen. And whenever I do that, things always turn out really good. So you just make it happen, just do it.
I love that. Well, thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for taking time to tune in. If you love what you're hearing, please share. We believe that sharing is caring, and we like caring people around here, so make sure to share this with a friend, a colleague, a family member, someone who needs to hear this episode. Also, make sure to subscribe and leave your feedback on iTunes and let us know if you're loving these episodes. We always love a rating and a comment, and we look forward to seeing you all next episode.